So you've been taking care of your worms for a few months now. You've been feeding them daily and making sure that they're well and healthy, and now it's time to harvest from your worm farm. Well, there's two main things that we're going to be taking out of our hungry bin. One of those is worm poo and the other is worm pee. So why are we actually going to be harvesting from our worm farm? Well, there's two main reasons for that. The first one is that if you don't harvest anything from your worm farm, eventually it's going to fill up completely and you won't be able to add anything more to it. So part of that is just making more space. The second aspect of why we're going to be harvesting from our worm farm is something about reciprocity. This is the chance that you get to take back from the worms for all of that care that you've been giving to them. So worm pee is all of the liquid which is going to drain out of your worm farm, and this will drain directly out of the bottom of a hungry bin and into the tray underneath it. It's really important that we water this stuff down because it is incredibly concentrated. A good rule of thumb is about 100 to 1, so you really only need a little tiny bit. Half a cup into a watering can is enough to feed plenty of plants. If you're not going to use your worm pee straight away, then you can store it for a really long time as well. You just want to store this away from light, so a milk bottle is a really good way to go. And when you take it out again, you might just want to oxygenate it a bit. So one way to do this is to make a worm tea. And the way to do that is to pour your worm juice into a container, like a big bucket or a barrel, add a whole lot of water and then stir it up, stir it right up. And then once you've made your worm tea, you can use that as you would to water your garden normally. So worm castings, or worm poo, is the solid fertilizer that you'll get out of the bottom of your hungry bin. This is really beautiful fertilizer. We want to make sure that we don't take too much. There's two reasons for this. One is we want to make sure that we're not taking too much goodies away from the worms at one time. And the other thing is that you can actually risk harming the structural integrity of your worm farm. So make sure you don't take out more than about 2 to 3 inches of materials out of the bottom of the bin at any one time. So worm castings, like worm pee, are very strong, so we want to make sure that we dilute them somewhat when we add them to our plants. That might be mixing our worm castings into compost or into soil or potting mix or anything else, just to make sure that it's not too concentrated, not too strong for your plants. The one thing I really want you to remember is that it doesn't have to be very complicated. You can get really complex and very technical on how you take care of your worms, but you don't need to. If that's not the way that you think or not the way that you enjoy taking care of your worm farm, then don't feel like you need to do that. You can keep things really simple, stick to some basic principles, some basic guidelines, and remember to be playful. You know, try something out, experiment. It might be that you can learn something new about worm farms that I don't know, or that the other people around the campus don't know either.